Hello everyone and welcome to another weekly live stream, and today we have some BMW E36s which we are going to take around the Bahrain Grand Prix circuit. As you can see, we have several different variations of the car, but they're all the same type. They're all just different colours. So we've got 8 of them racing. Ignore that, that's just the car I used to load up the session. And we will start with a 10-minute qualifying session. So once I've turned my volume slightly down so I can hear myself think, then we can get this underway. There we go. Right, so when the timer starts, of course, we will have 10 minutes to see the cars qualify and see who's quick and who to look out for. I can imagine it should be a very, very equal one because, of course, as usual, they are all single make. This isn't like some series where you get multiple different makes or different classes. So the time should all be quite even. Although I don't really think that this is going to be a short course. It's going to be quite a long one, I expect, seeing as it's the Bahrain Grand Prix circuit in a road car. Interestingly, a bit of a light glitch going on with the rear lights there. I've seen that on some Porsche with this game before, but obviously a bit of one going on with this car here. Hopefully that's not too off-putting, but anyway, we're now watching Frank Forvel as he's going around on his out lap. Down through the S's, it'll be a left, a right, and a left. There you go. And then towards a right-hand hairpin. Often a difficult curve on the outside. You have to make sure you don't rumble over that too awkwardly, because that can sometimes pitch your car into a spin. Now the most difficult corner on the track. It's a double apex left-hander, which technically counts as 2 corners. Very difficult to get your braking right there without spinning it. I can tell you from experience. And now into the third sector of the course. As soon as we get down this straight, which will comprise of a long sweeping uphill left-hander here, and then a long sweeping uphill right-hander, which is just as difficult. And in these cars, of course, when you have very limited aerodynamic grip, it means you really do have to hold on to the car through there and try to feel everything that's going on beneath you. You can see the rear right, I think, actually lifted off the ground through that heavy right-hander there. Certainly looked like it, although you don't normally see that from anything that isn't front-wheel drive. Now, down towards the final corner of the lap, it's important to get a good run out of here onto your lap. And here he goes. Let's ride on board with him on this lap. Nice engine though. It sounds like I'm not sure what it sounds like, but it's a rather nice tone. That's what you expect from BMW. That tone of engine. Anyway, braking basically on the line. That's the pit exit line. Down into first gear for turn 1. Accelerating out through turn 2. Remember that these cars don't have paddle shifters like most of the other cars we've seen racing do, so the gear changes are harder and more important to get right. Now there's turn 4. It's often quite difficult to hit the first apex and hold it to the inside until the right point to even out and switch to the outside curb. Now through the S's, you can see it's taken in 3rd gear there actually. I expected it would be taken in 2nd in this car, but no, he kept it in 3rd there, so that's good. This right-hander I expect will be 2nd, there you go. Similar gears to the ones I was using in GT3 actually, so not too shabby from the road going completely stock BMW E36, I should remind you. Of course, setup work is allowed, although I don't know how much these AIs do with the setup. You have to remember that along along with the fact that these are actually racing, these are all AI drivers, so they're all computer generated, and as a result, if any of these names that I'm saying are real names, it's not those people behind the wheel. It's a computer which is supposed to represent that person in this race, although I will keep saying the computer's name as it is. So we're on board now with Frank Forville, as I'll say it, although it is effectively Frank Forville's AI. 5 minutes remaining in the session now. We've used up half of our time and still no one set a lap yet because the track's simply too long. Let's see what Frank Forville does, because he will be the first driver to set a lap. It looks as if it'll be about a 2:30. We'll see as he rounds the final corner. It'll be slightly longer than 2:30 actually. Oh no, will it be? I don't know. Well, he's coming along the final straight now. The line is about here. It was a 2:32.2, so it was roughly 2:30. Who else is on a lap here? Nick Woods. He's in the second sector of the course, about to go uphill. Quite a good-looking road car actually. It's not the sort of supercar that you'd really turn your head for, but this kind of quick family saloon, the M3, is certainly nothing to be sniffed at. Very powerful car. I'm not sure of the exact figure, but I think the horsepower extends into the 400s. Down the well, I was going to say the back straight. It's more like the penultimate straight. The back straight runs parallel to the pit straight. The final corner. Now, is this a better lap than Forville's? I think he'll be the second person to set a lap here. He's going to cross the line shortly, and it's going to be P1, so it is quicker than Forville's lap, and it is by 0.8 of a second. That's a good lap from Nick Woods there. What about Taku Delport? Delport in the black BMW, going through the uphill sector, which goes into lap 3. Four-wheel drift there on the exit. And the second sector was a 156 point something. Now down the back straight with single seaters or prototypes, I'd say this would be a brilliant slipstreaming and overtaking opportunity. Of course, these cars aren't going to slipstream quite so well. They will give each other a little bit of a tow, but because of the lack of aerodynamic grip or aerodynamic downforce, there isn't really going to be that much, and it's not going to affect the cars too much. So Delport about to put in his lap. Oh, it's quick. It's a 1:30.013. That's almost a second and a half quicker than Nick Woods in second. So that's a very good lap from Delport to put himself first. Michael Fuller is actually running just ahead of another driver. He's in the red BMW, and then it's Oliver Dewey on his out lap in the yellow BMW. But Fuller here is on a lap. I just hope he didn't get held up by Dewey, as Dewey was exiting the pit, because they're running relatively close on the track. And sometimes, even if an AI is not technically holding up another AI, that other AI will often brake while passing you, just to make sure. So let's hope that didn't happen, and if it did, let's hope it didn't ruin his lap. But through the double left-hander. Of course, qualifying not quite so important here as it would be at a tighter circuit, because you can overtake here at Bahrain. And plus, we haven't got many cars in the race either, just 8. But still, you want to be starting ahead of someone. If a driver had a choice between third and second, they'd always go for second, of course. Switch over to the other side of the circuit now. You see how the line sort of corresponds with the shape of the track through there. It's a very, very rewarding piece of track when you get it right. This part, the uphill section at Bahrain. Of course, this track, not necessarily the most popular. There's been a lot of criticism that it's a bit of a boring circuit and that there's no unique features to it or anything like that. I sort of disagree. I mean, for some reason that it hasn't really provided great racing in Formula 1, except for in that brilliant 2014 race. But if you look at the circuit layout, it's really good for endurance racing. Not that that's what we're doing today. It's actually quite a challenge. Yes, it's not like it's difficult not to crash, as Michael Fuller goes to second, 3/10 off the leader. But actually getting the corners right is pretty difficult. I mean, this section here, hitting this apex that Yamauchi is about to go through here, that's pretty difficult, and not running over that curb, again, it's pretty difficult. And if you look at the track layout as well, it's quite clever the way that you have 3 long straights here, making up 3 corners of the track separated by slow corners. Theoretically, it should be a really good track, and I do think that a lot of the poor racing we've seen here has been sort of luck. But anyway, Yamauchi deciding not to finish that lap, as I feared would happen, and popping into the pits. Unfortunately, the trouble with the AIs on this game is that sometimes when they see the checkered flag, they think that's session over, full stop. And as a result, they don't even bother to finish their hot laps, which is a shame, because that means that we do see several people not setting laps in these qualifying sessions. But anyway, it looks as if everyone's going to do this, the order is going to be Delport, Fuller, Woods, Angelo, Test Driver, Forville, and then Yamauchi and Dewey. Ignore me, that's just the car I used to load up the session, and I'll be getting that car off the grid fairly sharply. Dewey is on his first lap here, and if he can put in this lap, then we might well see a change of the order, but if he pops into the pits like I expect he will, then that will definitely be session over for everyone. I don't think any of the top guys are going to go faster. Of course, one driver who could is Michael Fuller. I'm going to watch Fuller actually, because this could be on for pole if he stays out. Of course, he was only 3/10 off pole position last time through, with Delport going to the top. And let's see if Michael Fuller decides to stay out or pit. He'd better stay out, because this looks, I think, to be a quick lap. He's not. He's going to pit. So, unfortunately, I think everyone is going to just dive into the pits now. Yes, they are. So I might as well just go on to the next session. Also, I'm just going to be right back. I'll close my window briefly because it's getting a bit chilly in here. Right, that's done. That's that. And oh, and Skyplane YT is watching now and commentating in the chat. DTM intensifies indeed. Right. So, talking of DTM, of course, these cars were the inspiration for a lot of the early 90s DTM cars. Of course, these completely stopped. But yeah, see, this is a bit of a DTM race. Anyway, I'm going to wait for the lights to come on and off, and then I pull my car into the pits, pause the session, and watch it as if it's a real race. Right, okay. Taku Delport on pole, followed by Michael Fuller. Watch for the lights. You can just about see them on the gantry there. And they're out, so we're away. And a good start, I think. Oh, by whoever's in 4th place there, Max Angelo. That's a good start for him. And Taku Delport does defend the first position. Now watch. Oh, look at the BMW test driver darting through the middle. Is there going to be contact up front? Yeah, there is. Oh, slight contact for the lead there, but a good move from test driver to launch himself down the middle. Slight contact between Woods and Fuller as they went through turn 2 there, but everything is fine as we head up the hill, and all cars are still running, I think. Yeah, we're all still running. Now, look at this, 3 wide in the background, Woods defending from Fuller and Dewey. Dewey's made a good start, he was right at the back at the start here, but he's made his way up into 5th position. Now, as we head through the S's for the first time, I don't think that the next move is going to be possible until possibly the next braking zone, because this is a real sort of 90-degree right-hander, but it looks as if the cars haven't really built up enough speed. Some of these guys at the back probably could have made a dive there because everyone slowed down in a sort of accordion effect, but no one went for it. Now as we head through the double left-hander, turns 8 and 9 I think, Delport and Test Driver still leading from Woods, Fuller, Dewey, Angelo, Yamuchi and Forville. And that's the order on this first lap of the race. Bit of slipstreaming going on, but really not much. And now up into the uphill section. I remember the last time I commentated on a DTM race, it was with BMWs. I think it was at the Nürburgring short circuit for sim race in Malta. And that was a lot of fun. Just so much good racing went on that day. BMW Test Driver going for the lead at the inside, launches an attack, slides the car out, not Delport slightly, but does get the lead. Let's see a replay of that. That was a good one, as Test Driver saw his opportunity and went for it, and he was completely alongside by this point. That's a fair move, I'd say, and gave his opponent just about enough room. Here's what Delport did see of that. You can see him coming in the mirrors there, and Test Driver up the inside and through into the lead of the race as Delport gets slightly squirrely, and that might actually cost him a bit of momentum here. Will Woods be able to challenge, or possibly one of the guys behind, because Fuller, Dewey and Angelo are all in their own separate fights here. As we head down towards the final corner, Delport took a slight look again, but really it's between Fuller and Dewey here. And Dewey has the inside line. Will he be able to get himself... Oh, big slide! What's happening here? He's losing control. Somehow holds it. Now what happened there? I'll pause it and go back and check. It just seems as if suddenly... Look at this. He just suddenly pulls on the wheel and loses control. Now, why he did that, I've got no idea. But for some weird reason, he's just decided he suddenly wants to go to a disco. And there you see it. Whoa! Michael Fuller must have been having kittens. That was bizarre. But anyway, we're back to real time now, and Dewey's lost several places there. He could have made it up to 4th place there. From 8th on the grid, that's really not bad indeed. But now he's really shot himself in the foot there, and he's dropped down into 7th again. How bizarre. And now it's Test Driver from Delport and Woods after the first lap, and then Fuller and Yamuchi, but Yamuchi under attack. Angelo who tags him through turn 2 there. Slight front to rear contact there. These AIs racing like real drivers, except for Dewey, who just went haywire. Now, there's an attack for the lead going on. Delport put himself up the inside of Test Driver there through turn 1, and is going to get through. He gets the betting run out to the corner, gets through, but also has a wiggle. Big slide. Does he hold it? Yes, he does, and he still holds the lead, surprisingly. So Delport does a Dewey. Whoa, as Nick Woods gets massive understeer and goes off the road. He gives that place to Michael Fuller. Now watch Test Driver try to get his place back from Delport. And I think more replays are due, because that was a bit of a mad sector there. What on earth? Well, first of all, here's Delport's move on Test Driver. Dives up the inside. That was never on. That was too far back. But somehow manages to get it as Test Driver just runs out of road, and rather than running it over the escape road like most drivers would, brakes, and through goes the Test Driver. Now what happened here, just swings on the wheel. And we saw that from Dewey about half a lap ago, but this is just really weird. Now what happened to Woods, he just steers out slightly to avoid the BMW Test Driver ahead of him, and goes wide with a lot of understeer. Here's what Fuller saw of that to gain the position. Yeah, simple as once that had happened, and through he goes. And now if we go back to real time again, Fuller is right on the back of Test Driver. You see the lighting glinting as they went away from the camera there. And now look at Fuller, he's up the inside for 2nd place. Muscles his way through. Nice, that's how you're supposed to do it. And here's what Fuller would have seen of that as he leaves his braking later. Yeah, gets himself into a place where there wasn't going to be a gap for much longer and pulls the move, as I really do need to let my dog out. I think you all heard that. Apologies for that. Right, hopefully that's the end of all of the interruptions today. Here's how, oh dear, why is my replay not starting? There we go, it's starting now. Here's how Test Driver lost the place. Yeah, he just gets driven past, really, and that is a good move from Fuller. Quite a realistic one as well, I'm impressed. Now, down the back straight, we've got Delport actually building out a bit of a lead here. Still all 8 drivers running with the pack, so there's not been any significant incidents so far, which is good to see. I thought there was going to be when Dewey got sideways on the start of the straight last time round, but luckily nothing came of that. And now it is still Delport from Fuller, Test Driver, Woods, Yamuchi, Dewey, Forvel and Angelo. That is the order on lap 2 of the race. Now out and towards the penultimate straight, out of the final corner, and down the back straight. Watch Woods going defensive from Yamuchi. Yamuchi going to the inside. Will he try to force the issue down into the final corner? This is for 4th position. He does. He leaves his braking later. Ooh, well, Woods turned across, but Yamuchi, well, he was clear by that point, so Yamuchi does not get that place yet. And now he's still side by side with him as we head out towards the back straight. He's going to have the inside line for the next corner if he can hold it alongside. No, he's going to have to slot in behind. Watch Forvel and Dewey battling as well. Forvel up the inside. He gets the place. That's a good move from Forvel. He's up into 6th now. Now the gap has really closed up front between Delport and Fuller. Will Fuller attempt a move like the one we saw Delport pulling on Test Driver into this corner? No, he's not brave enough to do it there. And still settles for 2nd for now. I have turned up the AI aggressiveness meter between this race and the last one by about 20% actually, so the AI should be racing a lot harder this time than they were last time. Last time, of course, we were in the wet at Spa-Francorchamps, so they couldn't afford to be aggressive. But even then, there were a few guys spinning off. Now, Fuller might go for a move here. No, not close enough. We saw a good move occurring. Oh, well, he touches the leader, and he's alongside him, actually. That was a forceful one, but he's going to have to back out as he gets a bad run onto the straight. Actually brakes slightly to avoid our leader there. And that was very, very close. And now Fuller still chasing down Delport out front, but closer to being under attack from Woods here as Test Driver and Yamuchi go side by side. And now Forvel might run it around the outside. He gets over the curb. And my dog's barking again, but I think that's something outside the window. When I'm doing a professional commentary, I get my mum to look after my dog, but the thing is my mum's not in at the moment, so sad face. But anyway, Oliver Dewey a bit sideways as he went over the crest of the hill ahead of Max Angelo, although everything's fine there. Fuller going defensive from Woods. Fuller to the inside, Woods to the outside, and Fuller might go for the leader here. Touches him. Oh, that was close. There was contact definitely there, and Fuller might well get ahead here. Now that's not a move that I would say should work, and I'm going to give Fuller an artificial 5-second penalty for that, because that was not a move that was on. And now we've got side by side between Woods, Delport and Test Driver as we head down the back straight. It's almost 3 wide between 3 darkly liveried cars as well, which is a bit confusing. Delport's going to try to outbrake both of them. And he touches the leader again, does he? Yes, he does. This is so close, as they almost rub doors through the through turns 2 and 3. There's the right-hander at turn 3, and Delport, I think, is going to get the lead back again here, and well deserved. He's still on the inside line. They're properly scrapping here as we head up through the right-hander of turn 3, and Delport gets the lead, and there's more contact between Fuller and Woods. This is brilliant. Now, Woods actually had a slight overlap with Yamuchi there, but I'm going to go back quickly before anything else happens and see what happened between these guys. So Fuller went defensive from Woods behind, and then saw the opportunity to attack Delport up ahead. Actually, it looks as if he's just misjudged his braking slightly, and he's touched Woods and got alongside him and through, and that's never one that's on. And here you see it from Delport's point of view. Yeah, I'm certainly going to give Fuller a 5-second penalty for that one, which will be added to his race time afterwards. So that's dramatic in terms of the race. There you see Woods going through again, but I'm going to quickly show you how this looked from on board Delport as he got back up the inside. Oh, did he touch the leader? No. It was actually that Fuller, well, he did there, but Fuller had already turned out by that point, and that'll look pretty fair to me. Proper touring car racing, DTM. And then as we headed up the hill, is headed even a word? Whatever. He got the place, of course, on the inside. There you see it. As the two cars behind him made slight contact again. Here's what Fuller saw of that braking zone. He just saw his opponent getting ahead of him, and then the slight touch with Woods, and now we're back to real time. I'll just check the comments quickly. Oops, I've loaded up the wrong thing. Porsche Carrera Cup, but it's BMWs. I sort of see your point. What do you mean by the Porsche Carrera Cup? I suppose that's just how they're racing. But anyway. Ooh, contact again between Test Driver and Forvel. That was very close there, as Forvel just missed his braking and tagged the Test Driver ahead of him, and now Dewey gets sideways and touches Angelo, and Forvel goes for Test Driver, and Yamuchi gets Test Driver. Remember, of course, that Test Driver was fighting for the lead earlier on, but he's now dropped down into 6th position, so that's an unfortunate race from him so far. And we're just over the halfway point in the race now, with Delport still leading from Fuller, Woods, Yamuchi, Forvel, Test Driver, Dewey, and Angelo. That's the order here. And now, as we're going again along the back straight, will anyone pull out as we go up the hill? I doubt it. No one looks quite close enough. You need to be right on the rear bumper of the car ahead to pull a move there. One of my favourite memories of sim racing so far is pulling a move on someone right here in a CFEG endurance race on the penultimate lap of the race. I've been catching him for laps, and I got him there on the penultimate lap, and it felt so good. Anyway, Fuller took a slight look at Delport there, and Delport saw it and went defensive. Now, will there be a move here as we... Oh, they rub doors, the leaders do. Remember that Fuller's got a penalty anyway. Woods pops through into 2nd place there. And Delport still maintains the lead. Now, will Yamuchi get Fuller? He does. So Yamuchi gets Fuller. Fuller drops those positions. And now Yamuchi goes defensive again. As we go up towards turn 1, will it be Yamuchi or Fuller who comes out ahead of these two? It'll be Yamuchi. And still it's Delport leading from Woods. And now Yamuchi in 3rd as well. Fuller is 4th, but I believe he will drop right to the back of the order with his penalty here. Surprisingly clean race so far, 10 out of 15 minutes in, and I've probably just cursed everything, so hopefully I haven't, but I've seen incidents involving cars like these before. Bahrain, of course, not necessarily a track that lends itself to incidents, but this sort of racing certainly is, as Dewey puts himself past Test Driver. He's having a dreadful time now. Ever since he's been leading, he's been dropping down the order, and he's now in 7th position, just 1 position ahead of Max Angelo. And now down into the 90-degree right-hander, possibly slightly under 90-degree, but almost. Possibly slightly over 90-degree, actually. I'd like to see it from a helicopter angle, but anyway, that's not what matters. Oh, and Woods takes a look and pops his way through, but he has a bad exit to that corner there, and Delport might well get the run out of the corner. Will it be Woods or Delport who leads into the next turn, or out of the next turn is the important bit. Woods has the inside, but will he have to back off here with this long sweeping left-hander? Ooh, they both play a game of chicken. And Woods, I think, will get this, actually. That's a good long move from Woods there, and we'll go back and see a replay of that. Isn't it fascinating how as soon as I said the word chicken, I became very hungry? Well, didn't have breakfast this morning, so anyway. Through goes Woods on the inside there. Gets the position, and has to hold it alongside, as you see that, well, Delport had the better run down the straight there. But somehow, by being very aggressive with his line there, you see that Woods did manage to gain the position. Now down into the double left-hander. This is what it's looked like from on board Delport as he sees his lead suddenly being lost as Delport launches down the inside. He thought maybe that he could have got it back at this point, but maybe he was just slightly too slow on the gear changes or slightly too early on the brakes. But whatever happened, through on the inside went Woods, and that was the position over. And we have a new leader, who is Nick Woods. I believe this is the first time he's led this race. We've had several leaders here so far, but this is the first time that Woods has led it. Ooh, look at Yamuchi going for second! That would be a good move if it worked, but I think that, well, actually, Delport gets over the rumble strip, and Yamuchi does indeed get through. Now Delport and Fuller are side by side. Fuller only doing it for the track position, seeing as he has a penalty, but Fuller has the inside. Watch Forvel as well, trying to dive down the middle, but I think Fuller's going to get this. Yes, he does. A couple of cars running over the dirt in the background. Let's see a replay of that from on board Delport, who's lost 3 positions in the space of basically a sector. And here you see Yamuchi just popping up the inside and getting the place with the help of the curb on the outside. And that's where Delport lost all of his momentum. You see that Yamuchi's dived at this point, but it's only when Delport runs over the curb that it's truly lost there, because he has to back out of it. And then he also loses a place to Fuller as well, who gets down the inside and almost Forvel. Side by side for 7th, Test Driver and Angelo. This is the battle to not be last. It's Angelo on the inside. If he can hold this, he'll have that place down into turn 1 this time. As I think we might be heading onto the final lap of the race now. So this could well be the final lap of the race. Angelo has the inside line on Test Driver. And, ooh, look at them getting 3 wide. And did Angelo just cut the corner there? Well, he's taken a ball up with him. Dewey almost getting caught up in that. And I'm wondering whether that was an illegal overtake from Angelo there. As Dewey still side by side with Angelo up through the right-hander at turn 3. Will Dewey get the place or will Angelo? Angelo gets it, but does he get a penalty for that? I'm going back to check. Right, is he off the road? Yes, he is. Did he pull the place off the road? I'd say he's certainly gained advantage from that. So yeah, because he got the place from Dewey initially. So I'm going to say Angelo and Fuller both now have penalties. You can call me a spoil sport all you like, but I'm the sort of person who likes to stick to rules. Rules are rules. So that's a penalty for Angelo as well as it is for Fuller. Now, the order as we are on the final lap of the race is Woods from Yamuchi, Fuller, but he has a penalty, Delport, Forvel, Angelo, but he has a penalty, Dewey, and Test Driver. So that is the order. But will Yamuchi be able to launch a last lap attack on Woods this time round? Fuller going defensive on the inside. He saw the differing minds between him and Delport, but he doesn't really need to be keeping this place. He knows he's going to lose it anyway. It's really between him and Angelo. Both of them have 5-second penalties at the end of this race. Now, Woods still leads it into the final sector. I think that Yamuchi's only going to get one last chance, and that'll be into the final corner. Wouldn't it be something if that worked? And if we did see a last corner overtake, I've seen them before. Now, entering the final sector of the course, who's going to win this? Will it even be the final lap? Because the time hasn't ticked to 15 out of 15 yet. I think it's the final lap, but I'm not entirely sure. Yes, it is. The timer ticks to 15 out of 15 minutes in now. So this is definitely the final lap of the race. As we're going down the back straight, Yamuchi goes defensive. So he's not going for the lead, he's going defensive. But will he be able to dive for the lead anyway? I've seen this happening a couple of times. No, Door rubbing with Michael Fuller for second. He really doesn't need to hold this one, of course. But it looks as if Nick Woods is going to win this race. From 4th on the grid, I think. Out to the final corner he goes. And Woods wins it. There he is from Yamuchi, Fuller, Delporte, Forvel, Angelo, Dewey, and Test Driver. The what positions were Fuller and Angelo. Well, Fuller was 7th and Angelo was 8th, judging by this time. So that means that Woods won from Yamuchi, Delporte, Forvel, Dewey, Test Driver, Fuller, and Angelo. That's the order, and I will see you in the next episode in a week's time, roughly same time, a week from now. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to be racing, but I will make it interesting. So, thanks for tuning in for this one, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.